It's the Go-To Sports podcast presented by Go-To Sports. I'm Aiden along with Matt, and we have our second go-to guest with us today, Josh Crysler. Josh is a very big Bucks fan. He writes for Fansided with the Bucks. And Josh, I'll give you the floor to kind of introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Josh, as Aiden mentioned, a huge Buccaneers fan. Looking forward to getting into free agency and the draft. It's the best time of the year. Um, been writing about the Buccaneers for a couple of years now, and been writing about the NFL as a whole at Pro Football Network. So I cover the league wherever I can.
Sweet. So we've got the right guy on today, I think,
Oh
Matt.
yeah,
Definitely.
All right. So, as Josh had mentioned, we will be talking about the free agency. I obviously starts technically on Wednesday, but everyone knows that it's really going to start on Monday with the legal tampering period. But we're going to get into, I think we can hit first quarterbacks. We'll also get into the receivers, especially your guy, Mike Evans. And then we will also talk about just value steals or potential value signings that we see, and anything else in between. So it's going to be a fun episode, and let's get right into it. With the most important position on the football field, the captain, leader, quarterback. What do we think about that position? It's obviously got Malik Willis, Kyler Murray, Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins even. There's a few different narratives, I think, for each player, which makes it kind of intriguing as opposed to free agency classes from the past.
yeah. I mean, I could start with Kyler Murray. I think one because we weren't really expecting him to be a free agent.
Yep.
Now he's on the market. I think that there is a lot of narrative surrounding him just because of how disappointing the end of his time in Arizona was, even kind of getting benched there at the end. I think he's just a player that needs to land in the right situation.
Yep.
There's so much potential there. I mean, early in his career, he showed how special he could be as a runner with his deep ball. There's a lot of good there. I'm hoping he lands in a spot. I know Minnesota is looking for a
Yes.
veteran quarterback to compete with JJ McCarthy. I think that's the best spot with those weapons and playing for Kevin O'Connell. I think that is the best spot he can land in. I think the most likely spot is the Jets, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
They need a quarterback, and Aaron Glenn likes a mobile quarterback. He tried it with Justin Fields. It didn't work. Murray, more established, but still gives you a similar skill set, but better as a passer. So I think he ends up with the Jets, but I don't think that's the best spot for him, of course, just because of the instability of that organization. So I'm hoping for his sake that he gets an offer from Minnesota. I think he would do really well there.
Yeah, you wrote a nice little article for us, and you've been a big Kyler advocate, obviously. I think we've been plugging that article pretty much everywhere. You've been doing the heavy lifting on that, and it's been funny because a lot of people. I mean, obviously, the people who are going to be negative are going to be the most outspoken, but it does seem as though there's, as you said, a negative consensus. Maybe I might not be a
Hmm.
consensus, but negative definitely feeling about how Kyler has performed in years past, and I think some of that has to do with the Cardinals organization, which received, I think, an F, right, in the report cards. Um,
They're among the worst.
yeah,
They did pretty
so
bad.
for them as an organization to trash Kyler for some of the thing off the field stuff mainly, you have to take that, I think, with a grain of salt, given that they obviously are an organization that people don't respect, and I think whatever they have to say probably should be viewed a little bit with less value as opposed to other organizations. And for them to even come out and leak that stuff, you don't see a lot of teams doing that. So I think Kyler got a bad rap from that, mostly the video game stuff and how he was not a hard worker. But the guy played two sports in college. So that's not easy to do. Obviously, you can rely on your God given talent to an extent, but at some point, it's nearly impossible to just show up every day in college, even at Oklahoma, where that's a major Power Five school for both baseball and football. And to be successful in both, I don't think his work ethic should be questioned. And I think that was blown totally out of proportion. And as you are, I'm excited to see kind of where he could bounce back.
Mm,
Yeah, I feel like any team should be interested in him because you only have to give him the minimum.
Right.
And he's still getting whatever, like
Yeah, he's getting the
35 or
boatload.
35 or
Yep.
something from the
Yep.
Cardinals. So it's the veteran minimum to get him. There's really no team that shouldn't at least, like, hey, if you want to come be the backup, whatever it might be. Obviously, I feel like he probably wants the chance to start, reestablish himself in the league as one of those guys. He was always a great fantasy QB early in his career, but just as a whole, feels like Minnesota could be the perfect place if he's willing to go compete. If he wants the safer option, the Jets are probably the team, but like what's best for his career?
Yeah.
Or, maybe Las Vegas, he can go play baseball and football if the A's were ready.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a guy that he should have his choice of many different options when it's all said and done.
That would be a full circle moment, going back to the baseball team that drafted you. I think it brings up an interesting point before we get into any of the other free agents, just the conversation around nine, JJ McCarthy. That situation has been very interesting. They obviously chose him over Sam Darnold, who went on to win the Super Bowl. And now it looks like they're kind of backtracking or backpedaling. And do they still have any faith in them? Do you see a McCarthy resurgence in Minnesota, or is he kind of playing this last year or two out, and then he's on to the next team and perhaps a backup turned starter in the future?
I think he's got to at least get a chance just because you invested a first round pick in him.
Right.
I think the league is in a weird spot with quarterbacks where because we've seen quarterbacks come right in and have immediate success, that's almost become the expectation. But in the past, that was not a thing. I know everyone always brings up Peyton Manning early in his career for an example.
Yeah.
Even Josh Allen wasn't what he is now early in his career. I think that uh, young quarterbacks aren't given enough time to develop. And JJ having the injury in his first year, took away
Yeah.
meaningful reps.
100%.
So I
Last
think
year, too.
he started behind the eight ball. But
I
I
don't
think
know about
he's
last year. Matt mentioned last year.
Got hurt, too.
Not so sure he was hurt, but we'll see. I think there was a little bit of KOC soft benching JJ, but who knows? I definitely agree with you. The tough part for him is he was thrown into the fire where they had won 14 games last year, and he was kind of
Mhm.
expected to do the same thing. It didn't work out. Obviously, he showed a little bit, but not a whole lot in the games that he did play. The week one, I think, was his most notable game, which is not always great. You want to be able to progress, but for him to even show up in week one, I think shows something because
Mhm.
it takes time to get comfortable as a quarterback, and he was able to get comfortable within 3 quarters, and in that fourth quarter, he showed the type of player that he can be. Is he able to do that consistently? That's the biggest question, and that's what separates NFL starting quarterbacks from guys who kind of fizzle out. So we'll see. I'm not so sure either way. I think it is interesting that the Vikings are so adamant about getting a quarterback, whether that be Kyler or someone else.
Mhm.
Obviously, it brings in competition for JJ, but at the same time, if that other quarterback was to win the job over JJ, you're not going to be able to give him the reps that he needs. And at that point, it kind of seems like Minnesota is not his home, and he's going to be moving out sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
And
I
while
mean,
we're on that, sorry, Matt,
uh,
while we're on that, just because you mentioned bringing in competition for him in Minnesota, not a free agent, but someone I would almost love to see in Minnesota is Anthony Richardson.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, we saw
Oof.
after the Colts played the Vikings, it might have been 2 years ago now, but Kevin O'Connell had a lot of praise for Richardson after the game, just
Yep.
and when they met up post game. And I believe it was a rumor also that Minnesota tried pretty much selling the farm to move up for Richardson in that draft. So I know that they liked him during the draft process, and it's the same regime there. I think O'Connell's a great quarterback developer. So while it's not a veteran, I also think it might even be more of a fair competition. I don't think that JJ McCarthy would beat out Kyler Murray,
Mm,
but I think that it's a fair competition to see him against another young developing quarterback
yep.
and see which one they want to roll with. I do still probably shouldn't, but I still believe in Anthony Richardson just
Hmm.
because of those traits that he has. I think that if
Yeah.
he were to get into the right situation with the right coaching staff, he has everything he needs. He's just got to figure out that mental side of things. So I would not be opposed to seeing him in Minnesota either.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony Richardson is also still super young.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Vikings honestly should do what the Colts did last year. Bring in someone to compete, see what happens. I
Take
mean,
the other Arizona quarterback. I saw that they weren't totally sold on keeping Brissett.
yeah,
If
day
I'm
three
assuming,
pick.
yeah,
So
go get Brissett. I think, and Brissett has played with the Colts before in the past, so bring him back into the building the same way you did with Philip Rivers, because obviously you have. I don't know if Steichen was there when Brissett was their quarterback. I'm almost certain that it was Reich.
I think it was right.
Yeah, but I mean, a guy who's familiar with the building, he's. I don't know. It's very interesting. But yeah, I think maybe Brissett is an option to go to the Cardinal or not to go to the Cardinals, to leave the Cardinals because I've seen some rumblings about that. And that's the fun part about free agency right now is that there's so many different rumors that you have to be able to dispel. Um,
Mhm.
but the biggest rumor has been, as I just mentioned, the Cardinals, Malik Willis. That guy, because of what, 3 or 4 games? And they were critical games for Green Bay down the stretch when Jordan Love was injured. But
Mhm.
putting a few games on tape that can show you what's possible with in the NFL and just the quarterback position in general, how valuable it is, and how desperate teams are to find the next franchise QB.
Yeah, I feel like he was what the second quarterback in that draft after Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I think Pickett was the only first rounder because
Yeah,
Willis didn't go until day two.
Yeah,
yeah, but like it's just crazy. Like definitely didn't work in Tennessee. I mean, it's like how much like obviously he has a lot of those traits you're looking for in a
mhm.
quarterback, but it's like how much of that is like that Green Bay system with Matt LaFleur. I mean, they obviously don't have like a big number one receiver, but they have a lot of like quality target, like different players he could target, good enough O line, good enough run game, like, and just great coaching there. It's like, and in a backup role, it's like, how's,
I've seen that the teams that are most interested in Malik Willis have Green Bay ties. That's a nice little thing about it.
Yes. I know Miami because
John
their new
Eric
head
Sullivan
coach.
and
Yes, yes.
Jeff
Jeff
Hafley.
Hafley.
Yes.
And so they both come
Then,
from Green Bay. That's my initial thought was that Malik Willis is definitely going to be a Dolphin.
yep.
I almost find the Cardinals fit a bit weird just because you're moving off of Kyler Murray to
Same type of
pay
player.
Malik Willis $30 million dollars off 4 games of sample size.
Yep.
I think that's an interesting move there, honestly. I
Yep.
think Miami would be the best fit just because of what you said, the ties that he has to
I think
the personnel there.
was LaFleur ever part of Green Bay's staff, or it's just that they're
I think he
brothers?
came from the Rams.
Yeah, he came from the Rams. I think maybe it's just that they're brothers, but I am not 100% sure. I don't think he was ever on the same staff.
yeah, I think it's just brothers and then just the McVay connection.
Yeah,
Probably
Mhm.
evaluate quarterbacks similarly.
yeah, yeah. So,
Just feels like a weird direction for
yeah,
Arizona,
for
but
sure.
Definitely.
But it seems like it's up to those two teams.
yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I also like Matt said, I'm not entirely sure that he's worth 30 million, but as
That's
I
just the
said,
market now.
yeah, people are desperate for quarterbacks and they're going to try to find their franchise guy. And good for Malik because
Yeah.
obviously his career didn't start off great in Tennessee, but now he's got a chance to show people what he's worth because he's going to have a big big contract behind it. And it almost felt like it was like I don't think that Malik Willis was the most coveted guy at the beginning of free agency. All of a sudden, it was just like he's going to get $30 million. Kind of when the combine started. That was when this news all of a sudden erupted. It wasn't like a given that Malik Willis was going to be paid in the offseason. It was just the combine started, and then all of a sudden, it was like this guy is going to get paid $30 million.
I think that might be because the draft class isn't relatively strong. I
Sure.
mean, you have Mendoza's going to go one.
Yep.
Ty Simpson might sneak into the first round.
Yep.
Besides that, it feels like everyone else is projected day two, day three. So I think when you're the top quarterback on the free agency market, and unless you're the Raiders, you're not going to get your franchise guy from the draft likely.
Yeah.
Um, it just drives up the value for everybody else. So I think it's just a good year to be the top guy on the market.
That's true.
It'll be interesting. Another guy that not sure he's worth the money, but Daniel Jones
Mm.
has the transition tag. So he's getting 37, almost 38 million, but any team can make him an offer and then the Colts have the ability to match it. But this is a guy who's, he took one good season and got
Yeah.
160 million from the Giants for
Mhm.
4 years.
Yep.
Like he's lined up to do it again. He's turning into a Kirk Cousins where it's just he's not going to do much and he's going to be well over 300 million in contracts probably after this free agency period
Mm,
because there's no way the Colts are going to want to pay him all 37 this year if they think they can go
Right.
for it. Like they're going to want to spread that cap hit out. It's like you just traded for Sauce.
Yep.
You're not going to have the first round picks. It's like, I mean, you're kind of stuck with Daniel Jones at that point.
Yep.
It's like, are they a team, maybe that brings in Kirk Cousins? It's
Eek.
like, I don't know.
Mm.
It's like, as if Kirk wants somewhere to compete. It's like, I don't know how the Vikings could give Kirk a starting competition job.
Right.
I mean,
I'm selfishly hoping Kirk Cousins doesn't get a starting offer. I think it's highly unlikely he comes to the Buccaneers as a backup. At the same time, Tampa Bay just hired his former offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, to be our play caller. And Tampa Bay has no plan at backup quarterback. They had Teddy Bridgewater last year coming off of being a high school coach.
Yep.
He had to play in one game against the Rams after Baker got hurt, and he did not look like an NFL ready quarterback. Um, Before that, it was Kyle Trask, who
Mm.
the Bucks are just in a situation where if Mayfield goes down, it's a lost cause. And Mayfield plays such a physical brand of football
Yep.
that you need to have an insurance plan. So just because of Cousins' familiarity with the scheme we're about to run and his success in it and how badly we need a backup, I would love if he doesn't get a chance to compete and is okay with being a backup. That is my top choice for a backup for the Bucks. But I know that with his experience, someone would probably like to have him as a bridge or at least compete.
Yeah.
But I got my fingers crossed.
Yeah. I think the other quarterback, the only one that we haven't mentioned yet, is out of Miami, Tua. Tua's, I don't really know.
I
These,
saw some Jets connections maybe,
It's
but
hard to find a fit for him.
right.
The one that I would say is the Atlanta Falcons. And there's not even really much
Penix.
to this. It's just that Penix is coming off an injury that might have him not be able to start the season.
Hmm.
And I think because he's a lefty and Tua is a lefty, it allows you to not have to adjust your scheme.
Yeah.
You can just have Tua step in. And I think, I mean, if you're Tua and they have Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan
Yeah.
Robinson, it's a good chance to, hey, even if I only get to play a couple of games, we saw what Malik Willis just did with that kind of sample size. So if he gets an offer from Atlanta and he gets a chance to go into that system with that supporting cast, even if he only gets to play a few games, I feel like that's the perfect opportunity to get on other teams' radars for the following offseason.
Yeah. 100%. I'm
um,
curious to see whether Tua. I there's a lot of again a negative rap around him because of different things that have come out. So I guess public perception would ask, is he willing to sit on the bench? I saw Teron Armstead. He I guess has a show or a podcast now. He was saying that all of that stuff was not true about Tua, and he was willing to let Quinn Ewers, or at least give Quinn Ewers as much help as he can. But there's a lot to like he refuses to sit on the bench. He's selfish, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if obviously that's true or not, but it will be interesting to see. Like, does he still think that he deserves a starting job, or is he another guy who's willing to go in and compete. It seems like most of the jobs are going to be competitive jobs. It's not going to be like, hey, you're coming in to be the starter right away.
Yeah, I
If
don't see any situation where there's a team that's like, hey, we want Tua to be our full-time starter without him, of course, competing for it. But you can go through every team in the league. I tried doing this and it was impossible to find a fit for Tua.
Steelers.
It's tough.
Rogers
It's
is on the
tough.
Pat McAfee show today saying he's staying in shape and stuff.
Okay.
Whether
He's
that's
coming
for,
back.
is he
They
there
do
for
this
his
every
wife?
Him and
Rogers loves to
him,
do this in the off season.
him and Mike McCarthy. That's going to be interesting. I don't know if I mean a few years too late, perhaps, but maybe not. They don't have enough. They just don't have anything on the outside. That's their
Yeah,
biggest issue. And Kenneth Gainwell, they obviously have to bring back, or if they don't, then they're out of a very productive running back from last season. Excuse me. Are there any other quarterbacks that we want to hit on or quarterback talk?
Russell Wilson, is he still in the league or
Okay.
out
He
of the
he
league?
was on Bustin' with the Boys, and I actually watched the whole episode. I didn't think I was gonna because I don't know.
I haven't listened yet. I'm about to start
It's
the interview.
actually it's really good, and
Yeah,
I was impressed with what he had to say. Obviously, you have to take it with a grain of salt again because it's him talking. So of course he's going to be the most confident person in his abilities, and he has no reason not to, given his resume. I don't. That's another. I don't see why Minnesota couldn't be a. Minnesota is obviously an attractive landing spot for everyone. So
Mhm.
maybe Atlanta for him too.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that could be one.
Minnesota and Atlanta, I think, are probably the most attractive backup options. But and
The Colts.
both of them also can compete for a starting job. The Colts, yeah. I don't see anyone paying like you have to play Daniel Jones. You
Yeah, for
can't
sure. But
you can't
like,
Right.
you might get to play the first couple of games.
sure
And then
because
honestly, a Falcons team, if you're playing those first couple of games and you play well, if
yeah.
I'm the Falcons, I don't go back to Penix. Like if you're playing good, we're going with you.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Mhm.
I mean, he hasn't really shown much.
And it's a new regime. They didn't draft Penix, so
No.
that puts him on the hot seat.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Kevin Stefanski. I don't know yeah, Stefanski's never really had a quarterback, right?
He had snow game Jameis Winston.
He had,
Sure.
he had
Yeah.
what he got out of Baker, I guess.
But Baker's not available. So I'm just because
Uh,
sometimes you'll have coaches go back to people that they've worked with in the past, and he doesn't really have for being an offensive guru. I've talked about this before. Stefanski is an offensive guru who hasn't been able to make a lot of quarterbacks work, which is interesting that he's labeled what he is, but we'll see.
That
He's got
that's a team as well, the Browns, that have been linked to a bunch of quarterbacks too. Like they're bringing in more for
yeah,
competition. They're gonna have like an 8-person quarterback room by the end of free agency.
yeah, and their most expensive one is going to be
Hey,
outdoing.
maybe he'll be allowed to compete.
Perhaps. I mean, I would hope so. And Monken kind of seems like a guy who doesn't really care. So I think he would be willing to just you go get him, Deshaun. But I don't know. We'll see. Um, if that's it for the quarterbacks, then we can kind of move to the skill positions. And I think we have a well, actually two receivers that are very notable. One from Three, three receivers, because I just thought of my guy.
Yeah,
There's one receiver from each of our teams that has been very impactful. One probably at a higher level than both Matt and I's. The first being Mike Evans, and then Wandale Robinson. Wandale and Jawan, though, I think they can
yeah.
on the same tier. Yeah, but Wandale Robinson, Jawan Jennings, and Mike Evans, I think there's a few other wide receivers that are in this class that are good. Wandale and Jawan, I feel like, are more value signings, and people probably won't value them as much. They might get not as much as they probably deserve. Evans
Mhm.
will be interesting given his age.
Hmm.
And it also seems like he's not in it for the money, given what I've seen. And I think you had talked about this previously. I'm going to give you the floor because you would have the most information about this. So, Mike Evans, what's happening with him?
Yeah, I mean, this is a touchy subject for me. I mean, Evans has been a Buck since I was in sixth grade. I took my
Yeah.
high school grad picks in a Mike Evans jersey, so him staying is a big deal for me. Um, he is valued. Pro Football Focus has him 1 year, 18 million. So, like you said, not quite the value. He broke his collarbone last year. Um, so there's a lot that could hurt his value, being like you said, his age, the injuries. But at the same time, he's one of the most consistent receivers in NFL history. Um, I believe it was Jason La Canfora, who was an NFL insider. He reported that there's a few teams that have already expressed interest. Um, Obviously, that's not legal because
Yeah.
illegal tampering. But he mentioned actually the 49ers.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
he
see
mentioned
this.
the Chargers, the Bills,
Wow.
and yeah, there was a few others. The 49ers actually do stand out to me.
Oh, good.
And this is why, based on Evan's criteria, he wants a quarterback that he believes in. He wants to compete for a Super Bowl. He wants a top tier play caller, and then he wants a promise of a high volume of touches. So when I go through the teams, I mean, my top two that worry me are the Chiefs and Bills, just because
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
playing with, and I should mention last time Evans was a free agent, he did say the two teams that he considered outside of Tampa were Kansas City and Houston. That's his hometown, Houston. I don't really see that
Right.
as a fit right now, just because of Nico Collins. They drafted Jaden Higgins last year. They're getting Tank Dell back. So if
Yeah.
he's worried about touches, I don't think Houston is the spot. Kansas City, though, playing with Mahomes, getting to be that wide receiver one and compete for a Super Bowl with Andy Reid calling plays. I mean, I think that all ties together as a
Can
real
you
threat.
imagine
Oh my God.
him and perhaps Tyreek Hill on the outside?
Insane.
Because I don't know. Tyreek Hill's another guy. Obviously we'll see. He's coming off a pretty gruesome injury, but it seems like Kansas City is kind of the easy spot to pick for Tyreek. Him and
Yeah,
Mike Evans together would be
that would be crazy.
insane. Because
But when I
Paramount
think
Love,
of
maybe draft him,
yeah, it's
reshape the
just
whole
when I
offense.
think of San Fran, I mean obviously
yeah,
no more Debo.
nope, no more
Ayuk looks
you.
like he's not playing another down in
No,
San
he's not.
Fran.
Nope.
Purdy's a respectable quarterback, but then you
Right.
mentioned the other criteria. I mean, who in the NFC has been more of a consistent playoff contender than San
Absolutely.
Francisco?
Yeah.
So you have that. You have Kyle Shanahan calling the plays.
Yep.
I think he'd get a huge chunk of that offense. So I
Yeah.
definitely think San Francisco, and I can't forget this, general manager John Lynch was a Buccaneers legend. He
Sure
played
was.
11 seasons for Tampa Bay. And I think that's something to note is that if Evans is looking for an example of, hey,
Mm.
I can leave Tampa Bay and still preserve
Mm.
my legacy, John Lynch left Tampa Bay after 11
Yeah.
years. He went to Denver for 4 years, and now he's in both teams' Ring of Honors. So
Josh is
his
cooking. I like it.
it just 49ers, there's a lot that's going for them that could
Yeah.
it
Don't
scares me a little bit. I don't
don't
want
sleep
it
on
to
my boy
happen.
Slick Rick either. Ricky Pearsall, he's up and coming. Yeah,
Right.
that's interesting. I didn't know that Evans was even a suitor for him. But the Chargers is the one that popped out when you first said the list. If he wants touches, though, I that's a lot of competition for touches there. But that would be
Hmm.
insane. That would be an
That's
insane.
another one. Him and Lad McConkey.
Yeah, Quentin Johnson was good last year. I don't
Yeah.
know where Keenan on the team still, or is he? I think he's
I think
still.
he probably wants to come back, you'd assume,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
he's a free agent.
yeah.
I think if
So
they were interested in Evans, that would just mean that Keenan gets pushed out. But
sure,
Yeah. And me personally, I'd love to see him play with Josh. I mean,
yeah, that,
yeah.
you got Khalil Shakir running the little routes
yeah,
down by the line
Mhm.
of scrimmage, and then you just got Mike Evans just run a go route every play.
yeah,
Let
Right.
Josh
And
throw it up.
Buffalo has been early in the process. He's been heavily linked, Evans and Buffalo.
mm.
That's another one I can see. I think that's honestly the fit I've seen floated the most. Um, it's
They
tough
do this every
because
year. I have never seen Buffalo go get a weapon though.
right, but I could definitely see it in terms of Buffalo just is always in the playoffs. They just can't get
Yeah.
over that hump. So I kind of do see Evans as,
Oh,
hey, we can go get this piece to get us
can you
over that hump
imagine
there.
him instead of Brandon Cooks in those? crucial moment. I mean, Brandon Cooks, he performed just fine, but instead of Brandon Cooks, you have Mike Evans. I mean, they probably go on to the Super Bowl in that case, but
Yeah,
It would be quite the lifestyle change from Tampa to Buffalo, though.
right. Yeah, no, but there's a lot of intriguing fits for Evans. I'm just hoping last time he was a free agent, he came out and said that the determining factor, I mean, on top of everything else he was considering his legacy in Tampa, it was his wife. His wife did not want him to leave Tampa. I'm hoping Ashley comes through again
nice.
and convinces him to stay. I think you're going to play another season or two. You're going to uproot your whole family for 1 or 2 more years, or just stay home in Tampa Bay. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a player more loved by this franchise. I mean, we've had a few. We've had Rondé Barber. We've had Mike Allstott. There's been guys that have become franchise legends, but I've never seen a player so universally loved than Evans. That sure, you can go to another team and they can offer you a lot. They might be able to offer you more money, which I don't think is the issue. They might be able to offer you a better chance at a ring, but it's just there's just something between Evans and the Bucks that I just can't. I don't want to see it end. I mean, I would be devastated. So,
Yeah, making
but
me cry right now.
I know I might cry. I might cry right now.
That is,
But
I mean, how can you not? He's had how many 1,000 yard
he
seasons in
had
a row?
11, and
Yeah,
I think he
so
would have had 12 if he didn't get
100%.
hurt last year. He missed like 9 games.
Yeah.
But the other thing
Him
to
and Baker
consider
are so
also,
good.
yeah, no, they have such a great relationship. But the one thing that does throw me off a little bit, that makes me worry, is just, I mean, the team invested a first rounder last year in Emeka Buka. They're paying Chris Godwin 20 million a year already.
Right.
And then you don't hear Jalen McMillan talked about a lot, but he's a really good player. He had 8 touchdowns as a rookie. And
Yep.
then Tez Johnson last year came out as a seventh round rookie and he made an impact. So the Bucks are so stacked at wide receiver and they have so many needs at other positions that they might start to think, hey, are we really gonna spend 20 million on a 32-year-old wide receiver? It's tough, but I think they're gonna find a way to make it work. I hope I'm right on that.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
It would be weird to see him change teams, but who knows?
Do you want to talk about your receiver?
Yeah, we can go to Wandale Robinson. You know, he's his whole
Such a
career.
sad portion of the episode.
I mean, he's already as good as gone to me.
Yeah.
It's he stepped up big this past season, 1,000 yards. He really filled in once Malik Neighbors went down. But at the same time, he's got the shortest arms as a receiver. He's like 5'7". It's like he's a very limited player. Just doesn't feel like something that John Harbaugh is going to want. Feels like he wants his receivers blocking. He can't block. Like, I mean, some of the numbers too, it's like if he's going to be getting a couple million more than like Khalil Shakir, who got like the 4 years, 60 million. So it's like if we're looking at like 17, 18 a year for a player like that, he's not going to get that volume again on the Giants. Malik's coming back. Hopefully we draft a receiver in like the fourth round or something, maybe. It's hard to justify paying him that when you have Malik coming back, he's not going to get those targets. And it's like, how much is he really going to fit in a John Harbaugh style offense? And then you have Brian Dable, the coach, who drafted him highly, top of the second round, on the Titans with what seems like unlimited money this offseason. It just feels like it would be a good fit, him to
Interesting.
Tennessee with Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Just kind of how I see that going. I
Definitely
don't
need
think the
weapons.
Giants have any interest in bringing him back, though.
Is Ayumanor and DK, they're not slot receivers, are they? They're on the outside.
I think they're on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
Wandale's a strictly slot guy.
yeah. Yeah. Productive slot receiver.
Absolutely, but
Limited to that.
yeah. And for
Yeah.
that price, it's like I think the Giants could do better spending money elsewhere. I think he's a valuable player on a team that's going to use him right.
Right. Yeah.
And the Brian Dable offense feels like it could work there. Works with Khalil Shakir up there still in Buffalo.
Yeah. Not as heartbreaking as Mike Evans leaving.
No, not at all. You gave
I
us
would
four
Didn't
be
even
good
think
years.
about it.
I would be very upset if Jawan Jennings was to leave the 49ers. And the thing about the 49ers is that every year they have contract issues and they're going through it again with Trent Williams. They every year, I mean, I don't know why, but they obviously have a lot of good players, so that's part of it, and they have to pay all of those good players. They've kept them all though, which I think John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, obviously more so John Lynch, but even the organization as a whole, they've been able to keep all these players, retain them, pay them what they deserve. Um, I wish that they would get a little bit more out in front of each extension as opposed to waiting till they're at their peak value and then having to pay them and then juggling everyone else's cap. To me, that doesn't really make much sense, but they've made it work. So, um, I wouldn't be surprised if Juwan's back. I could also see him leaving. Last year, when Jennings was going through his contract dispute, it got a little ugly and kind of seemed like he was going to leave. But again, they brought him back. I just don't know how many times you're able to do the same thing over and over again and get lucky. Not lucky, but be fortunate enough to bring the guys that you want back. Because at some point, I think they're just going to get sick and tired and try to find value elsewhere, which he, of all people, should have value because just because of the fact alone that he plays whenever possible. He, I think, broke 5 or 6 ribs last year and played through that. He played through a shoulder injury. He is a monster of a receiver. Brings a ton of energy. He does block, so potentially goes to the Giants. Um, but he's one of my favorite players just because he does all the dirty work. Third and Juwan. Uh, he's a great receiver, and for him to leave would be unfortunate. If we bring in Mike Evans and replace Mike Evans with Jawan, then I won't be as upset. But I think there's something that you can't put a price on with the ability of just getting it done and playing whenever possible, doing whatever is asked of you without question, and that's what Jawan does. So, Jawan, you're welcome. I just pitched you to every team. Uh, Hopefully you stay.
He definitely feels like a guy that on a 49ers team, it's like every week, who's hurt this week, who's not playing. It's like Jawan's always there.
Yep.
He's gonna get his catches. He always seems to score a touchdown. And he's just like a guy you can count on. It's like, I mean, he was on a team with Debo, Ayuk.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, those guys really haven't. Debo gone, Ayuk doing his
That is
thing.
true. He's able to kind of
But
fit wherever. Like he can be a one, he can be a two, a three. It doesn't matter. He's like I said, just does whatever you ask of him.
he's productive in every role.
100%.
Yeah. PFF actually, I just found Jennings on here. They have him projected to sign a 3-year, $50 million contract.
Okay.
So that would be just under 17 million per year. So it's actually pretty solid payday, especially considering they have Evans at 18 million projected.
Yep.
So
Might be gone. That's too bad. Well, listen, can't keep everyone for forever, but I don't know. They've just had a lot to juggle with, and that's as simple as you can put it. Like Trent, they're figuring out his contract. I have no concerns that he'll be back because they've done this for 8 years at least. They did this with Bosa, with Kittle, with Purdy to an extent. Debo. They've done this with pretty much every good player that they've ever had. I except maybe Fred. I don't remember a lot of controversy with him, but for the
Ayuk,
most part, yeah, I mean, that's
what
that's
is even going on there?
yeah. I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, so those are I actually only have one other skill player that I was interested in your guys' opinions on, and that's Isaiah Likely because
Oof.
he has been obviously superseding Mark Andrews as a number two. So, given that he gets an opportunity to be a number one, what do you think the possibilities are with Isaiah Likely?
I mean, I think the Giants are probably a somewhat logical choice, just given the Harbaugh connection. I
You
think,
like Theo?
I do. I think they probably are going to want a second tight end.
Sure.
I think the Browns are another logical choice.
Hmm.
Todd Monken. I've seen a lot of Patriots fans wanting to add to Hunter Henry.
Yep.
So a lot of the teams I've seen or thought could work, he would be sharing tight end role again. But I mean, in a class where it's like, how often do the free agent receivers really pan out? You could probably get Isaiah Likely for cheaper than a Jawan Jennings, Mike
Mm.
Evans. Like, at what point can you get similar value out of him, maybe for less money, and just
Yeah.
see, especially if you put him in that number one role, what could he provide? I think it'd be interesting. 'Cause he's definitely done it when Andrews is out hurt.
Yeah. It's just weird because we've always expected him to kind of break out, and he never has. But that's partially because he's been behind Andrews on the depth chart. I think at some point, though, like as good as Mark Andrews is and has been, your talent should at some point flourish. Whether you're because there's teams that have done two tight end systems, and both tight ends get plenty of reps and catches, but for whatever reason, Isaiah Likely has been a guy that, oh, this guy's super talented and he's going to break out. I haven't seen it yet, so that's why I asked that question.
What do you think of the fit potentially in Tennessee? I mean, we talked earlier
Yeah.
about how much money they have.
Chig is a tight end. I mean, a
Uh,
free agent,
yeah,
right?
he's a free agent.
Hmm.
I like Chig, but I don't know where they're at in terms of trying to bring him back. I don't know how much of an upgrade Isaiah would be over Chig. I think they kind of are similar in terms of speed ability because I think that's what both of them kind of are best known for. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to think of Isaiah Likely because I've
Here's an interesting team. Kelsey
He's a really good receiver.
Kelsey retires,
oh
goes
wow.
to go to the Chiefs.
Oof. I
They've
like that. I
like
do think Kelsey comes back for one more, but
just in the
that would
hypothetical
be a
he
crazy
retires,
fit.
like
Yeah.
Even if he doesn't retire, if you were to give him a long-term deal and then he just takes over the number one after this year, that would be pretty cool. And if the Chiefs are a team that use even three or four tight ends, like there's guys on that roster who've gotten touches at a
Yeah.
pretty consistent rate.
I think Noah Gray.
Yeah,
yeah,
Noah Gray, I don't know. And I think they
just
do like Noah Gray within the organization. I think they
Mhm.
think that the he can be the guy that takes over after Kelsey is done. But to bring, yeah, Isaiah Likely would be good for them. I don't know. Huh.
just a different idea.
He's
And
I think the most interesting offensive weapon that's on the market. And there's a few running backs that are good too.
David
Yeah.
Njoku also
Njoku's good.
another very athletic.
Saw the Eagles might replace him or use
Yeah,
him to replace Goddard. That would be interesting.
a lot of tight ends available.
Yeah, there
yeah,
are.
Kate Otten is another one that
Interesting.
the Bucks are in an interesting spot with that too, just because Cade is not an irreplaceable player, but he's a very solid player.
Yeah.
I mean, he can catch the ball. He's a good blocker.
Yeah.
Um, he does it all, and behind him, the Bucks have nothing.
Hmm.
Um, they have Payne Durham and they have Devin Culp. I think those two combined for 2 catches and 17 yards last year.
Yeah.
And then Keeft is like a fullback. He's a pure blocker, and he had a season-ending injury last year. So the Bucks have nothing at tight end,
Hmm.
which is actually why, as many defensive needs as we have, I think Kenyon Sadiq in round one is definitely intriguing me more and more lately. But I could see Tampa Bay looking for a tight end in free agency, and likely had one of the best games of his career against the Bucks
Hmm.
um, last year. Well, 2 seasons ago now. I won't forget that. He definitely introduced himself to us. So um, yeah, I'm intrigued to see what we do because Kate Otten is going to have a market.
Yep.
I think I actually saw the Patriots as a
Hmm.
team that Patriots and Titans are the two I've seen.
Patriots seem to like a certain type of tight end. They got a model for what
They
they
have a type.
That's funny. Interesting. Yeah. I thought that there's not all of the tight ends. I don't know how much, like Isaiah Likely, I think is the only tight end where you can get, there's potential left. I think all of the other guys have kind of, you know what they are, and that's what you're going to
Mhm.
get. And Joku
Mhm.
might be, have a little bit left that hasn't been seen yet, but Goddard, you kind of know who he is. Otten, you know who he is. I'm trying to think of the other tight ends that are available, but from what I saw, it seems like the tight end position is one that you see what you get, or
Yeah.
so we'll see.
Maybe Kyle Pitts gets traded too.
Yeah, that'll be. I hope not. I want to see. I'm interested to see what Stefanski can do with all of these weapons because apparently he's been. Well, everything's been his. It's not his fault, and it's just the roster construction around him. But now he has no excuse, so we'll see. The
Mhm.
Falcons should be in that Bucks division.
I was gonna say, I hope it implodes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Stefanski, I don't believe is very liked by his players. I think in those report cards, the he got like an F for the head coaching,
Yep.
and I know Baker Mayfield isn't a fan.
No.
They went,
Some people have said that he just kind of uh I'm trying to figure he pretty much just mailed it in at some point and was just trying to wait it out until he got fired or was let go from the Browns or his contract was up. But
mm,
it's possible. I have no idea. We'll see. Anything else on the offensive side of the ball before we move to the defense?
One
we could
final
dive into
one.
some running backs, or
Yeah, like Kenneth Walker, I think.
Yeah.
Just it's like why don't the Seahawks just bring him back? I guess it's like you have a model that works
Yep.
right.
with him and Charbonnet. Like obviously the run game's important there.
Yeah.
Feels like obviously probably got to resign some of their guys or extensions coming up, but I mean after that playoff run, once Charbonnet goes down, it's like how are you? I understand not putting the tag on him, I guess, but he feels like a guy you got to just bring back. I don't know if he's like the type that would give a hometown discount, but regardless, just make it right. The cap's going up by a ton regardless.
Mm.
It's obviously super important. And I mean, they don't win the Super Bowl without him. So it just
I
feels weird that he's linked to other teams and just don't
I,
come to the Giants. It's the
I
big
think
thing.
just to play devil's advocate, from Seattle's perspective, one, they do give a lot of his touches to Charbonnet. And not to say they're not a good 1-2 punch, but also after that playoff run, I think he raised his value a lot. I think he would have been a lot more affordable before that playoff run. And we all know just how replaceable running back is in today's league. I think this is arguable, but I think offensive line has a lot to do with running back success. So if they have faith in their offensive line and they think, hey, we can spend a draft pick and get a younger, cheaper running back rather than paying top of the market value, this might be the perfect time to move on. We got what we could out of him. I mean, he helped lead us to a Super Bowl, and now we get younger and cheaper. If they do move on, I think one team that I can see as a fit is the Denver Broncos.
Hmm.
They did draft RJ Harvey last year, and J.K. Dobbins was playing really well before he got injured. But the Broncos just they have all the pieces to me to be a Super Bowl team. They've got one of the league's best defenses. They've got one of the league's best offensive lines. Sean Payton's a great coach. The running game just wasn't quite there. I believe they were already linked to Brees Hall. I saw a report today that part of the reason Hall got tagged was because a team like Denver was willing to outbid if he got on the market. So Denver's definitely going to be in the mix for running backs, and I think a piece like Walker, while and they have plenty of money to spend. I mean, Bo Nix is still on a rookie deal. I think that's the type of move that they can make, or if they can get that run game to the next level. Because what does Denver really need? They need a wide receiver one. Sutton's kind of slowing down. They need a dominant wide receiver and they need a better run game. And I think everything else is in place for them. So I would love to see Walker go to Denver.
That is true. They were the one seed. They probably go to the Super Bowl if Knicks doesn't get hurt.
Mm.
Maybe draft a receiver, sign Kenneth Walker, and yeah, you're really looking at that team as
Hmm.
with that defense, especially like
Defense is incredible.
That would be a good team for him.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, and to Seattle's point, they obviously would have to go get another running back, I would assume, because they're going to try to emulate the 1-2, or they draft a running back, perhaps. But
Probably draft.
that that's a
But you'd probably have to
big
get one too, with Charbonnet coming off an injury.
right.
Mhm.
Big shoes to fill for that. Whoever's drafted, you're filling in for the Super Bowl MVP. No big deal. But
Right.
yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with the whole Walker situation. ETN is interesting to an extent. He's had some good years and some bad years. I think last year he helped himself a little bit. Uh, his connection with Trevor, since they've been together since Clemson, obviously at the NFL level, it's a business, but um, I'm interested to see how many suitors he has because I could see him not having that many. And he probably is, given his skill set and what he can be, will ask for probably a little bit more than what he's actually worth. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, and Rico Dowdle is another guy who
Yep.
plug and play. I like obviously what he was able to do with Carolina last year, but it seems as though he kind of runs out of tread uh, pretty early on in the season. Can he put a full season together? I'm not sure.
Right.
Yeah, I
Then
guess.
you also have, I mean, of course, I got to make it Buck centric.
Sean Tucker.
Rashad White,
Oh,
he
Rashad White.
has
Oh,
all but guaranteed he is not coming back. I'm sure you guys aren't following him on social media, but he wants to leave.
That was a thing last year too, right? Or during the season.
During the season, yes. And of course, I mean, he kind of got his role taken by Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
Um, and he's just the one thing I will say about Rashad White, I mean, obviously he's a great receiving back. He's also one of the best pass blocking running backs, which goes unnoticed. But he does so much of the dirty work because Bucky Irving can't really pass block. Rashad White is big. He's over 6 foot. I think he's close to 220. Um, he's a big back and he blocks very well. And there's been a lot of plays that big pass plays that we wouldn't have been able to get off if he wasn't there in the backfield. He's just an all around good player that I think gets slept on. I think there's no secret he wants to go to the Commanders. He was college teammates with Jaden Daniels,
Ah,
and he changed his profile picture to those two together in college.
okay.
He would probably step in immediately as the running back one there.
Yeah, that was a time. There was a time when that was at its peak, using social media as your contract negotiation tactic.
Well, Rashad White still believes in that.
That's funny.
He was on a live stream. He said like, I'm not leaving Tampa Bay. They left me. He's just made it very clear that he's unhappy with his role, and I don't fault him in a way, just because he does have the potential to lead a backfield, but he's just not getting it here. So I think he's gonna be someone that someone's gonna get for really cheap, and it's gonna be just a great value signing.
Mm,
And on the flip side of that, Tyler Algier is going to leave Atlanta,
mm,
and the Bucks are going to need another running back. I think Algier, just with his powerful
yeah,
style, is the perfect complement to Bucky Irving. And I mentioned the Zach Robinson connection earlier with Kirk Cousins. Of course, that
right.
also exists with Algier. So I would love to see Tampa have a backfield of Algier and Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
And Algier is projected to sign a pretty cheap contract. I believe it's around 5 million. So definitely something that Tampa Bay can afford if they want to bring him in. So I would love to see Algier come in, but I think Rashad White is one of my favorite, non-biased. I do believe he's one of my favorite value signings that someone's going to get this offseason because it's not going to be, he's not staying in Tampa.
Hmm.
Yeah. I like what Rashad White's been able to do. I also think, like I was thinking about, is Sean Tucker, is he staying or is he
He's
going?
going to be a free agent. So
Okay.
since he was undrafted, he was a restricted free agent. So they had to choose whether to tender him or not. They didn't. I believe if they did, he would have got around 3 million,
Mm,
and they declined that. So I don't. I assume that they're just going to try to get him back for cheaper than that.
okay.
But I don't know if they'll be able to. He's had a few big games.
Yep.
He had a huge game against Buffalo last year, and 2 years ago against the Saints, he had a game where he had over 200 total yards. he has like one game a year where he just lights up the stat sheet, and
Yeah.
besides that, he's tucked away on the depth chart.
Yeah. Because
But I think with a bigger role,
I'm trying to think of who, like, Kenneth Walker is such a unique player where he's huge and he's also agile. Like there's no really real comparison as to who can replace him with Charbonnet in the backfield.
They're not in free agency at least.
Right. Yeah. I mean all the valuable guys are going to be locked up as running backs. So I don't know. Do you want to go deeper into some steals or value signings since you had mentioned Rashad White?
yeah, why not?
All right. I have one that I want to get off real quick. He's from the same division. New Orleans Saint, former New Orleans Saint. I'm not sure where he's going to go, but I think he can be a Bobby Wagner type, like in Washington, where he was an older linebacker, and not much was expected of him. And I think that Demario Davis can still produce. He showed that he can.
Oh yeah,
I don't know how much money he's going to get, but I think he's really still a good player. And I think just the veteran presence and leadership that he'll bring to a team the same way Bobby Wagner did, I think there's definitely value within that. Whether he's your every down linebacker or he's someone who is there for probably third down, I think he brings a lot to the table, and I would assume because of how old he's not going to get a massive payday, but whoever signs him, I think, is going to get a steal.
I love that. I mean, I've had plenty of experience watching him from my Saints hate watches. Yeah, he's been a great player there for a long time. I actually saw him linked to the Jets. He played for the Jets earlier in his career.
Hmm.
They're going to be looking for another linebacker. Obviously, you got a defensive head coach there in Aaron Glenn.
Yep,
So if he wants to finish his career where he started it,
that would be
Jets
cool.
could be a fit. I don't know if I think though if you do leave New Orleans where they haven't been able to win anything
Right.
since Drew Brees left, you probably want to spend your last few years
Yeah.
playing for a contender if you can.
Yep.
Um,
Similar
but
to
he
Washington, though, I don't think Washington had many expectations when Wagner got there, and they were all of a sudden just like pretty good. The Jets are a different story because the Jets going Jets, but uh, he could be a guy like Wagner where all of a sudden you have strong veteran presence and they uplift the Jets. So I like that for the Jets if they were to do that. I like him for any team.
mhm.
And the 49ers were looking at Eric Kendricks to bring him back. So, I mean, you could bring Eric Kendricks back, but look into Demario Davis as well. Him and Fred would be filthy, in my opinion.
Definitely worth a look.
I got a different sleeper linebacker, Leo Chanel from the
Saw him.
Chiefs. That's a guy I'm hoping the Giants give a look at.
Especially
Um,
because Okariki's gone.
yeah, they just cut him. They're gonna revamp that middle linebacker room. Hopefully draft Sonny Styles too, but
Nice.
that's not here. But like Leo Chanel is a guy that I think he just fits that middle linebacker position well, fits what the Giants are going to want to do. Definitely just fits what every team's going to need. He's maybe not someone that's going to command top dollar, but he's definitely going to be a value signing wherever he ends up going.
Quite a few good linebackers in this class.
Yeah.
Which is big for the Bucks because oh man, the
Yeah.
linebacker position was brutal last year. I mean, Levante David is still Levante David. He definitely took a step back, but he's still an above average player. But outside of him, it was we have Servassier Dennis, who it was his first year as a starter. He just isn't ready. Um, I think we're going to address it through the draft. I think I would not be shocked if we double dipped in the draft. Um, it's a great class. I'm
Yeah.
most excited about Jacob Rodriguez.
Hmm.
He is he's insane. I was watching film on him the other day, and just the way that he is all over the field, it's insane to watch. And he's just a turnover machine. I mean, some people think that there's fluke to that,
Hmm.
but when you actually watch him, it's just not a mistake. He had a fumble recovery where he was on the other side of the field when the ball was fumbled, and I was like, how is he the one that got
The
over
ball
there to
finds you
recover that? You know,
100%.
yeah, he's awesome, and he's not even projected to go in the first round, which is kind of crazy to me. I think in
Yeah.
his in college he had He had 6 sacks, 6 interceptions, 13 forced fumbles, something like over 300 tackles. The guy's just a machine. That's my dream draft pick.
Yeah.
But
There's who's the top linebacker in this class?
Sonny Styles. I mean, people will
No,
say
no,
Arvell
the
Reese,
free
I
agency
guess.
class.
Oh, I'm sorry. N'Kobe
Uh,
Dean, maybe?
Right. Yeah, I don't because Quay Walker's there. Devin, I think it's probably Devin Lloyd.
yeah, it's definitely
Oh,
Devin Lloyd.
yes, Devin Lloyd. Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, because Devin Lloyd, whatever he gets paid, it's going to be interesting to see how those dominoes fall because there's a lot of linebackers who probably deserve to be the top paid linebacker in this class. So does Devin Lloyd wait out everyone else to make sure that he's the top paid by the end of free agency? If he signs early, then Quay Walker is going to probably get more than him. Whether he is actually a better player than Devin Lloyd, it doesn't really matter because they're still comparable. So he would then
Mhm.
get more. And then, as you had mentioned, Kobe Dean is also a very good linebacker. Those three are. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, given that they're all kind of compete. Because that's at the end of the day, a lot of it obviously is for the players, but the agents always are trying to make sure that their guy, whoever they're representing, is getting paid the most. So the stall maybe of some of these guys is going to be interesting to see. I don't know how quickly that they'll be off the market. I think it might take a while, and I don't know. It could be very interesting to watch.
Even a guy
Mhm.
like Tremaine Edmonds, he'll
Yeah,
probably end up getting cut by the Bears. Probably not going to cost a ton, but definitely a veteran that can play good middle
another bear.
linebacker.
Another bear I have as a value signing. I've always liked how Jaquan Brisker played. I don't think he's ever lived up to his potential necessarily. But coming out of Penn State, he's a very good safety in my opinion, and he showcased it a little bit with the Bears last year. There's been inconsistency in his play, but I really like just how athletic, how big, and how quickly he can get to the ball. He, I think, can be a value signing for many teams. So that is another one of my guys that I have as a value signing, and then I have just one more after that.
I've got one coming from New England. I hope I don't butcher the name, but it's Kaylavon Chason.
Yep.
Um, Good pass rusher. He hasn't ever been a double digit sack guy. He just had the most productive season of his career with only 7.5 sacks. But one thing that stood out to me was when I really got to focus in on him was the playoffs.
Mm.
I believe he had 2 sacks in the wild card against the Chargers, and then he had another sack in the divisional round. So to me, that was like, okay, this guy only had 7 sacks all year, but he had three in 2 playoff games. He stepped up when it mattered most.
Yeah.
So even if I mean, he's been like a rotational guy, but I think he can really, he deserves a chance to take over as a starter, like a full time starter. And I think a similar situation, bringing it back to the Bucks, is Shaq Barrett.
Mm.
Uh, Signed him back in 2019, and he was buried in Denver's rotation. They had Von Miller and they had Bradley Chubb, who they had just drafted. So Shaq Barrett was behind them. I don't think he had ever recorded more than 4 sacks in a year. He came to Tampa Bay, 19 and a half sacks his
Yeah.
first season. And he went on to have two more double digit sack seasons in Tampa, I believe. So I think that Chason could be a player like that where I mean he's gotten playing time, but
Mhm.
he hasn't really reached his peak yet. I think there's a lot of potential to be discovered there.
Yeah.
And yeah, just watching him in these playoffs, I was like, oh wow, this guy's a free agent. He probably just made himself a ton of money with how he
Yeah.
performed in the postseason. So I'm eager to see where he goes. Wouldn't be mad if Tampa Bay signed him,
Yeah.
but
With how he performed too, like your play gets elevated by how good your other defensive linemen are with you. Like New England's defensive line was not anything spectacular. They obviously
right.
put together as a unit very well, but when you have if Chason was to go to a team where there's already a formidable star on the other edge, like that opens his game up so much more. Um, Similar to, I guess, Daniil Hunter having Will Anderson on the oter side. I'm not saying that Chason and Daniil Hunter are at the same level, but I think Hunter was always the guy in Minnesota, and there wasn't a ton around him. And then he goes to Houston, and everyone has to put their attention on Anderson. So something similar with Chason can definitely happen there.
Mhm.
Yeah, he definitely feels like a good fit for. It's like he probably wants to be a starter, but I don't know. The Broncos' edge are both of them still going to be there? But like a team like that on a defensive line,
They've got
Nick Benito,
Benito.
Benito.
I
Zach
wasn't.
Allen's an interior or no?
Zach
Yeah,
Allen's interior. They have Jonathan Cooper, who they already
Okay.
re-signed.
I wasn't
I
sure.
think they're mainly intact. The only
Yeah,
defensive lineman they're losing is
Franklin
John
Myers.
Franklin Myers,
okay.
and
He's an interior guy,
that's
right?
another sleeper, honestly, now that
He
we're
can
now
do
that we're
both.
talking about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He can play both, and he's another one. I think he just had 7 sacks, and I think
Hmm.
he had 7.5 the year before. On the
Yep.
interior, that's he's a good presence to have in the middle of your defense or on
Yeah.
the outside. He's versatile.
Good point. Good point. My last value signing that I have written down is Romeo Dobbs. I think he is very underrated, even when he was with Green Bay. Like, obviously, they never had a one, but like anytime they needed something, they would typically go to him. Some of the catches that he's made over the past few years have been incredible. I like how he kind of was put in the doghouse and then came back from it a better player. I think that says a lot about who you're bringing in to the locker room. So yeah, I like Romeo Dobbs. I think again probably a receiver that doesn't get as much as probably he's worth. I think a lot of these guys are probably going to get. I don't know. Mike Evans, 18 million. I would say that that's probably the ceiling for the receivers in this class, right? There's or
Well,
Alec
Pierce,
Pierce,
yeah, Alec Pierce, and that's
it's
I don't
crazy.
I don't know. Alec Pierce, as we were talking about before this recording, kind of seems a little bit one-dimensional, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think Romeo Dobbs, if you get him on a team with a solidified one, really can elevate his game there. Like,
Yep.
I mean, a fun team would be the Rams. What he could do,
mm,
I don't know how he'd fit, but a
Yeah.
team like that. But really, just any team with a one, if you could put him there, he's like your clear two. He's not going to be drawing
If
like
I was the Bills, I would get him on a cheap deal because again, they don't. I've never seen them go out and sign too many high marquee weapons, but I think he can be a one. I'm not sure
I
to what
don't.
extent, but the Bills have never had really a number one, so he would be better than whoever your one is now.
Yeah,
But I think he's better suited for a two for sure.
yeah. I don't doubt his abilities and developing into a one, but I think for the best for his career, I think
Yeah,
being a two this year would be huge for him.
100%. We have any other any values, or have we covered pretty much everything we've wanted to talk about here? This was pretty exhaustive, which is good. That's kind of what we want, and that's why we brought Josh on.
I think we hit everything I had at least.
Josh, anything else on your end?
for value guys, I think I hit them all. I'm probably gonna think of one after this ends and kick myself.
That's all right. All right, cool. Any other storylines from free agency that you want to hit on?
I think we could just talk about top overall guys.
Sure.
We haven't hit on Trey Hendrickson yet, for
Yep.
example.
Yep.
We talked about some of the top linebackers just now,
Mhm.
so we have and the quarterbacks. So we talked about some of the top guys, but we haven't talked about all of them.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
would
Trey
definitely talk about
Hendrickson.
Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, that situation is the funniest, craziest, weirdest situation I think I've seen in some time. Like, obviously, he's your best pass rusher, one of the most important positions on the football field. They opted to go with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and pay them, along with obviously Joe. And
And not
so,
trade Trey Hendrickson.
yes, didn't trade him, which
Yeah,
was a decision. I didn't hate it personally because they obviously needed some help. But the should have paid him in the first place.
yeah,
It's cool that T and Jamar are on the same team, but I think in terms of roster construction, it would probably have been to the benefit if they had paid Trey Hendrickson and maybe gone elsewhere or looked elsewhere for number two. Obviously, they now have 1A and 1B, which is what you hope for. But given the circumstances, and you're looking at the rest of your team, like your defense was miserable and continued to be because of their inability to. Obviously, they've retained Hendrickson up to this point, but similar to Jawan, like at some point you have to part ways, I feel like.
And if they were going to move on, going back to trading him, you could have traded him now. You could have tagged and traded him.
Right.
At least get a
Yeah.
pick out of it. You could have got
Yeah.
something out of it.
Yep.
And now I'm wondering maybe if that was a agreement they had
Mm.
last offseason, because
Yeah.
obviously
Finish
all
out.
that drama was going on. He
Right.
ended up signing a 1 year extension. So maybe it was hey, like I'm gonna sign on to play this year, but let me hit free agency next offseason. And
Right.
maybe they honored that. Besides that, I can't think of a reason why you wouldn't tag and trade him, because now you're just
Did,
letting him walk.
did they tag him last year?
I'm not sure. I think they didn't. I think he was just entering the final year of his deal and wanted an extension. But
Okay.
I don't think he got tagged, but I might be wrong on that.
I just know that if you tag someone for the second time, the price
It's more
also
expensive, yeah.
skyrockets. So
What
maybe something
uh
like that.
what is he projected to earn this off?
One year, 21 million, which to me, I'm paying that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Who
I
would who
think
would you say he goes
obviously,
to?
well, you know what I'm gonna say.
Obviously.
He's
Yeah.
coming to Tampa, but the Bucks have been in such desperate need of a pass rusher for years now. I think
Yep.
2021 Shaq Barrett was the last time we had a double digit sack guy.
Yep.
They've tried. They spent a first round pick on Joe Tryon Shoyinka. They spent a second round pick on Chris Braswell. They just paid Hassan Reddick last offseason. Nothing has panned out.
Yeah.
They need help badly. And Adam Schefter was on Pardon My Take, and it didn't come off as a report, more so speculation. But I also think with how plugged in Schefter is, it
Mm.
almost came as like this is coming from somewhere.
Sure.
And he said that he believes Hendrickson would love to play in Tampa in his ideal world,
Mm.
being that he's a Florida native, played his college ball there. They mentioned the no state tax. There's a lot going for
Yeah.
it, but it all ties together with just the fact that it's the Bucks' biggest need. He's the best player on the
Mm.
market. I think you have to make it happen. Just what else? If you don't, you're almost shoehorned into forcing another pass rusher pick early in the draft. Whereas if you can make a big signing like that, it kind of gives you some flexibility. And the big popular move that Bucks fans seem to want is the Max Crosby trade.
Mm.
The reason why I actually opt for Hendrickson is just because Crosby's going to cost you multiple picks and a premium player,
Yep.
and he's making 30 million a year. So if Hendrickson actually does go for that $20 million and you don't have to trade a bunch of picks for him, you get him cheaper and
Quietly
you don't
running
have
the
to
league in
trade for him.
sacks too. He's just as productive. He didn't do
Yeah.
it last year, but he did it.
But the 2 years
Yeah, two
before, he
years
had
ago.
17 and a half back to
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Last year, he only played 7 games and he had 4 sacks.
Yeah.
But PFF has him last year, even in 7 games, he was their 13th ranked edge rusher, and he
Yeah.
was their 6th ranked pass rusher. So he is, I mean, even the one concern is obviously the age,
Yep.
and he had a hip injury last year. So there's definitely, I mean, when you're over 30 and you're injured and you're going to be commanding top of the market money, it's definitely could be a cause for concern. But I also think if like a team like the Bucks, you have to take the gamble because you need it so bad that you can't just keep sitting on
Yeah,
a weak pass rush.
for sure. Huh. I was looking at the cap space. So the Bucks, it says that they have 11 million, but
Right. And they can create like 50 million in a
yeah,
heartbeat. They have
everyone.
restructuring Tristan Wirfs is like the one move that right there clears, I think, close to 30 million. So they have a lot of flexibility. The one thing with the Bucks is that no matter how much cap space we do have, which the Bucks constantly restructure players and
Mhm.
create cap space. I'm one of those cap isn't real guys
Yeah.
because I just truly believe if you want to keep a player, there's a way to keep them.
Yep.
I mean, the Bucks won the Super Bowl in 2020 and then they kept all 22 starters, which
Right.
seemed crazy. You can find a way. You might have to mortgage the future a little bit, but with the cap going up $20 million every year,
Yep.
I feel like it kind of levels out. The one thing though is that the Bucks reportedly are operating with like a $50 million budget from ownership this offseason,
Mm.
so cap unrelated. That could become a situation because now if you do want to keep Evans at close to 20, and
Yeah.
then you're hoping the team makes a move for Hendrickson at 20, you have no more money to spend.
Right.
So I think they're in a spot where they're gonna have to choose wisely on what moves they want to make. Um, because they have a tight budget, so hopefully
Hmm.
they can work around that and make some impact moves because I feel like there's still a playoff window with this team, but that's all. They're in purgatory. They're not a Super Bowl contender right now, and
Yeah.
if the ownership isn't willing to make the moves necessary, then what are we doing?
It's a good point. Chargers at 99 million. Yikes. That could
They
be
also
really
got
interesting.
a bunch of players they have to re-sign if they wanted to,
Yeah.
like Khalil
It seems like
Mack,
they're Khalil Mack is one of them. That was actually
Gafe,
that was
Owe.
who I was thinking of the Chargers. I think Hendrickson going to LA would be interesting. Why not replace him or replace Khalil Mack with Trey Hendrickson? That would be pretty nice. So
Solid upgrade.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Do we have one pick of where like one prediction that I am trying to think of one right now? I actually do like the Demario Davis to the Jets. I also like Wan'Dale Robinson to the Titans. I think those two definitely can happen.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think of another one that I can see happening. I think because Vegas has so much cap space, and you had mentioned Rashad White's ability to pass block, I think him going to Vegas to be a 1-2 with Genti is super intriguing.
Hmm.
Genti, I think, developed or not developed, but he was more comfortable pass blocking as the season went on. But also, like, you don't want to be not necessarily ruining, but using all the tread, which is the vernacular that everyone uses in the NFL. You don't want to overuse him at such a young age. So I, I like Rashad White to the Raiders as well. Does anyone have any other picks, whether it be for their own team or otherwise?
I'm definitely planting my flag on Hendrickson to the Bucks. And then when it comes to Rashad White, as I mentioned earlier, the Commanders, I think that is in his ideal world, but also not the Raiders, but same division, the Chiefs. Pacheco is a free agent. And the only issue that I would have in terms of White and the Raiders is that the reason he wants to leave Tampa Bay is he's not a big fan of the 1-2 punch. He wants to
Mm.
lead a backfield. So I think considering the Chiefs are probably going to move on
Yeah.
from Pacheco, you get to go play with Mahomes for a Super Bowl contender and
Yeah.
lead the backfield. So I would say Rashad White to Commanders or Chiefs, I'm fairly confident on.
Hmm.
Hendrickson to the Bucks. And I want to make a call for Kyler Murray, but if I had to right now, I would say Jets, but I just because he's a free agent and has the choice, is he going to willingly go to the
Right.
Jets after the dysfunction of the Cardinals? So I think I don't want to stand on that.
Yeah.
I'm too scared,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I'll stand on Hendrickson and Rashad White.
Yeah, I guess my two would be Wandale of the Titans. That just feels like it's already done. And then here's an interesting one, but I kind of like the potential fit. Alec Pierce to the Raiders.
Mm,
I like that.
interesting.
They got the
Yeah.
cap. Go get, a guy that you think can, he's a vet in some aspects. He's been in the league, clearly a one-dimensional player, but if you see more there, get Mendoza a downfield target.
Hmm.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
I also do really like Wandale to the Titans. When Matt was first talking about Wandale, I was trying to think like where would he even fit? And when as soon as you said Titans, I was like, yeah, that's clear as day. So I definitely like that one a lot too.
The one that I'm seeing now, also, I think it's important to mention. because I am looking at the linebackers, and typically it seems as though the AFC North linebackers all just kind of rotate in a circle, and they all just continue to swap places. Um, but I N'Kobe Dean, obviously they don't need him, but uh, Tariq Woolen also is a free agent. I'm looking at Seattle for N'Kobe Dean. They don't really need him necessarily, but if he's someone that you can get, I think obviously it makes them that defense that much better. They don't need to spend on the defense, but depth always helps.
They got the money.
Yeah, they have $60 million in cap space, so that would be a pretty sweet signing, I think, for them. Hmm. Trying to think of anything else that I'm looking at on this.
Well, one player we didn't mention is Tyler Linderbaum. Not
Yeah,
that I have like a fit for him, but just I mean, he's been one of the league's best centers for a few years now.
yeah. Let's get him to San Francisco.
Get him to San Fran.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen really anything about what San Francisco is going to do, and they tend to really not be big players in free agency, just because of all the cap that they already have wrapped up in everyone else and the discussions that they're going to have with Trent Williams and whoever else. So Mike Evans would be cool, but
Not for me.
I don't know. I'm hesitant to say that I see him going there. So we'll see. I'm gonna give. Hmm, I'm gonna say. Wow, can you imagine Linderbaum to the Jets? That would be
That would
insane.
be.
It'd be crazy.
Do the
I,
Giants need a center? Because I know obviously the Harbaugh
I
connection.
mean, they could upgrade, but I don't know. Linderbaum's just not the best pass blocker.
mm,
He's like the best run blocking center, but it's like, I don't know. He's gonna cost way too much for like mediocre pass blocking that I don't even the Giants have enough holes that like 20 plus million on a center. I'd
Yeah.
rather just spend it elsewhere. Like
well, so,
he's gonna cost a lot. I
well,
mean, if I'm the Ravens, why not just bring him back,
Right. Yeah, I'm
100%.
surprised that they're. It looks like they're gonna let him go, but
I think I saw like at the combine they announced they made a big offer to him, but
Hmm.
I mean at this point you may as well at least hear what your value is in free agency.
Yeah.
There's no can't hurt you at this
right.
point.
Well, I guess while we're naming fits, and I just brought up Linderbaum, I guess I'll just take a shot and put him with the Titans, just because of how much money they have.
Yeah.
I believe they just parted ways with Cushenberry, who was their center.
Yeah,
So that's
That's another one of
becomes
those where the similar to the Jets, like who are the free agents that want to go there? So,
yeah.
but Tennessee is, I think, more attractive, obviously, than New York.
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
100%.
Well, I
No
will say
tax.
this. The free agency is going to be very exciting to watch. I think we got a lot out of the way on this episode here of the Go-To podcast. I want to shout out Betty Tatum, Mr. Dilla, and Joel Haworth, who have recently subscribed to the Go-To channel, continuing obviously to grow and expand. Obviously, Josh has written a few things for us. Expect some video content, I believe, from him coming soon.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about that you've got going on, whether it be on the Go-To Sports platform or otherwise in the other writing or content that you create?
Sure. I mean, if you want to read any of my work, especially if you're a Buccaneers fan, I write for Fansided's Pewter Plank blog. I write at least 20 articles a month, especially this time of year. I'm going to have so much free agency and draft content coming out. Um, that's really it. I mean, I got my finger on the pulse of all things Buccaneers. So, and then with Go-To Sports here, we're building something special here. So I'm definitely excited to be a part of this. I've written a few articles, and like Aiden mentioned, I'm gonna have some video content coming out. Hoping to launch my own individual podcast here, focusing on the Bucks. So I'm gonna have so much content. So if you're interested, just look me up.
Got to paint that wall red. Just the whole room has
Listen,
to be red.
we got it pewter right now. We got it Bucks pewter. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought red was a little much, but
It's
we
good.
got a
It's
pewter
good.
and red theme going on in here.
I like it. Looks great. All right, very good. Matt, do you have any parting words?
I appreciate you guys for the continued support, reading, listening, just supporting us along the way. Thanks to Josh for hopping on. It's a great episode.
Sweet.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course. This has been the Go To Podcast presented by Go To Sports. We'll see you next time.